Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm doing a practice recap from a cult-style painter's daily grind. I rarely post my practice sketches, but I've been sleep-deprived these days and my brain's basically fried. This sketch went wrong from start to finish. It's such a rare full process disaster that I had to do a recap, like making a mistake notebook from my art. First off, the main takeaway today: get enough sleep. Without proper rest, your practice is useless. Worse, you might develop bad muscle memory and habits, or even regress in your skills. Alright, let's dive in. This piece was inspired by a random video I saw on social media. The dappled shadows and bright blue sky just spoke to me. At first, I planned to stick to the traditional light to dark painting method, but I didn't study the reference carefully before grabbing my brush and going ham, and that's where the first mistake hit. Thanks to my foggy brain, I decided to paint each leaf individually instead of blocking in the big shapes first. I realized I messed up by the third leaf, but my brain wasn't keeping up with my hand. I thought, well, I already started. Might as well keep going, and forged ahead, thinking I could still control its spoiler. I couldn't. By the end, all the leaves were the same size. Who's ever seen leaves that uniform? I told myself, it'll look better once I add color. And I mindlessly mixed the trunk color, and my heart sank the second the brush hit the paper. It was too lazy to rinse it off, so I thought, meh, already painted it, let's keep going. When I laid down the base color for the leaves, the paint was too thick, and my dirty palette muddied the color, making it way darker than planned. I figured I'd just darken the gray tones later to bring out the light again. Already started, might as well. By this point, the leaves were messy, lacked rhythm, and had no form. I gave up trying to fix it, added a few color variations, and hoped I could connect them with extra leaves later. I skipped wetting the paper first and just glazes the color on. After a few leaves, I panicked. The paper was already dry, so the color just sat on top with zero blending or gradient. I threw in the towel. Fine, whatever, keep going. I tried to cover the pencil lines with green mixed with titanium white, but the consistency was all over the place, needing splotsky patches. Sleep deprivation is a curse. My leaves ended up looking like a scattered mess. The colors got more chaotic, and my brain checked out completely. My hand was just moving on autopilot. I tried dry brushing for wood texture, but the paint was too thick. Watercolor control is impossible. Sometimes wet versus dry looks like two different paintings. The leaves were a mushy blob, but my delirious self thought I could still save it. Then came the shadow disaster. The reference's shadow had a cool tint, so I mixed lamp black with crimson. I totally forgot lamp black has insane coverage and used too little water. One stroke erased all the wood grain, and the dry brushwork looked terrible. I slathered on shadows carelessly, turning them into weird spulches, and the leftover paint made the branches look like Spider-Man-esque webs. I tried adding texture and ended up with moldy-looking streaks. I sighed, whatever, already did it. My brain then fixated on mixing the exact bright blue from the screen, a color that's basically impossible to replicate with paint. I stubbornly mixed pearl white, titanium white, and every blue I had until it looked right on the palette. But the second it touched the paper, I didn't just feel my heart drop, I went cold from head to toe. After that, I zoned out and turned it into a coloring book, forgetting to control the water in my brush entirely. I was just mindlessly filling spaces, calling myself a coloring pro for fun. At one point I deluded myself into thinking it looked Monet-esque, blurry, no contrast. And since I skipped wetting the paper, the color was thick and pasty like wall putty. Might as well keep going, I thought. Halfway through, I was dozing off while painting. 1 second I was sleepy. The next the whole thing was colored. It was like 10 minutes of my life vanished. Good or bad, it was done. The most brain-dead move came last. The painting was too muddy, so I needed to highlight the light areas with opaque white. Normally you use thick titanium white mixed with a hint of color, but my sleep-deprived self had a genius red. Stupid idea, titanium white is white. Gouache-white is also white. My $12 artist-grade titanium white is too expensive, but that 50-cent stub of Kingzhou gouache-white is perfect. I use gouache-white for highlights all the time, so mixing it with lemon yellow will work, right? Wrong, the color wouldn't mix evenly, and it didn't brighten anything. The extra water I added to thin it killed the opacity, turning the watercolor gouache mix into putty that I had to scrape off after that. My heart wasn't just cold, it was dead. This is by far my worst watercolor fail ever. I didn't get a single step right. Final lesson for my fellow cult-style painter friends. Stay sharp-minded when you practice, or your skills will backfire. When mastering the blood-forged painting technique, beware of dark thoughts that'll make your art skills plummet.